Hey, onesies, Josh Williams here, and thanks for checking out this week's episode of the One Man Podcast. It's always free and available on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play Music, and many more, as well as on the web at onemanpodcast.com. So please, whatever platform you're listening on, like and subscribe. While you're at it, give it a rating, leave a review. Why? Because it helps the podcast, and I'd really appreciate it. How about that? What about social media? Search One Man Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube to keep up with what's going on there. Get a little extra content for yourself. And finally, to get in touch, please send your emails to contact@onemanpodcast.com. You send it, I read it on the podcast. That's the deal. Thanks for listening, guys, and I hope you enjoy this week's episode.
What's up, everybody? This is DJ Demers.
I'm K. Trevor Wilson.
Hey, it's Krista Allen.
Hi, this is Rick Mercier.
What's up, guys? This is Paul Verzi, and you are listening to the One Man Podcast. Yeah!
My name is Josh Williams, and welcome to the One Man Podcast, episode number 178 for Wednesday, October 7th, 2020. How's it going, onesies? How are you guys doing? Huh? This is the podcast where I tell you about me recovering from wisdom teeth extraction. What I thought would be a 24-hour endeavor was significantly longer. This episode is, of course, late because I didn't feel like talking for an entire week while I played with stitches and other things like that. I'll also tell you about a lot of the movies that I sat on my ass and watched this week, because that's kind of all I did. Was I laid in bed, in and out of sleep, in and off of on and off of painkillers, all sorts of things. So it's going to be basically a lot of movie talk. And I remember the first thing I did, I actually told you guys last week about a box I was going to be putting together for a friend. Well, I put that box together and shipped it. And then, yeah, some games that I played. I did, again, a lot of fucking around. And thank God I wasn't doing any work. I had a little bit of a 2-week layover with the Nespresso gig. So I was able to just kind of recover and dick around. But I'm very excited, guys. I'm super excited. I'm always excited when I get to have a co-host with me and share another person that's in my life. So I'm going to be having my guest pal Angie from Texas. Aloha. That's my favorite thing. It's like a Hawaiian thing. Like, yo, what's up? Aloha. The funny thing is I legitimately meant to say hola with aloha because I'm an idiot. That's what I do. So thank you, Angie, for joining me this week here on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. Let me tell you, it's the best anytime I can have my friends on. And so, yeah, I basically will be talking about me recovering from wisdom teeth extraction. So I was kind of back to hanging out with you guys in the evenings because, I wasn't working nights and whatnot. You had yours out a while ago, right? Because you were kind of one of the people that was telling me sort of what to expect.
No, I've never, I was a dental assistant.
Oh, right. You were telling me kind of some of the stuff that I could expect and whatnot. I remember we were talking about it. Yeah. And it was, I think you were like the only person who kind of set proper expectations for me, or like, it's going to be not great for a little while.
Yeah, it's going to hurt.
Yeah. Everyone else is like, yeah, it's like a day. And then you just, put some ice on it or whatever. It sucked. It sucked. Yeah. And I talked about it on the last episode, so I won't make people relive the actual surgery part. But I remember that first night I struggled to sleep for the first few days. It was really difficult for me to fall asleep because I was in so much pain. And then with constantly shifting like ice packs and then taking them off and putting them back on and just painkillers every 2 hours, it was tough to sleep. So all I did was put something on, watch it, maybe fall asleep. But if I fell asleep, I'd wake up like 40 minutes later because of the pain. So I was in a constant like 2.5 hour cycle of taking the Tylenol 3s. So I watched a lot of like garbage. I'll talk about that in a minute. I'm actually going to tell everybody what I was eating for the first few days. So, and then I'll move on because I would say that the first day, so I think the first night afterwards, more than 24 hours later, I had my first food. It was strictly water for like 24 hours because the idea of eating anything. And I could feel the stitches like on my tongue. They felt like a good like centimeter to an inch. So that's for you guys, half an inch to like an inch sticking out. Cause I just like move my tongue and I'm like, why is this thing like in the middle of my tongue? Like, did he not trim it down a little bit? But I could feel the stitches and just made me feel like I was going to fuck everything in my mouth up. And I remember, my mom called and she's like, can I get you anything? I'm like, soup. She's like, do you want me to come in and make it? I'm like, no, I have soup here I can make. I want to be delivered food. I just know I want soup and I don't want to have to do anything. Like I want to get out of bed. It's already ready to go. And then kind of like slowly, I don't even know how to describe how I was eating. I was eating like, I like roll my tongue into a U shape and then kind of just like pour stuff. Cause I was trying to keep everything away from my teeth and my holes. Right.
Yeah,
So just kind of like almost like a little fucking water slide for the soup, but it was like chicken noodle. So it had like, you know, peas and carrots and little bits of chicken. And of course that shit would like get stuck like in the sides of my mouth and stuff. And so I was like, and you're not allowed to like swish. Right.
No, yeah,
So
you're not supposed to.
yeah. So I'm like, I just kind of like tilt my head from side to side, like letting the water rinse, like just flush over it. So some of the stuff came out, some of it didn't, but I don't think I brushed my teeth for like 3 days. They're like, oh, you go ahead and brush if you want, but not with a sonic thing. And I don't have one. So I had to like go through all my drawers and find a toothbrush that I could just use to like gingerly brush. But like my mouth was so swollen that I couldn't even open my mouth all the way. Do you know what I mean? Like, I guess the muscle around the jaw was all swollen. So I couldn't even open my mouth. Like the idea of like putting a toothbrush in my mouth was like, I can't open it wide enough to fit it in between the teeth, basically. So,
wow.
yeah, it wasn't like the worst thing, but I'm just like, again, I wasn't eating a lot either. But I think the funny thing was I got the teeth out on Tuesday. I did, I stayed home all day Wednesday, and then I got stir crazy Thursday. And I went out and I got all those things. So I was on painkillers and stuff. I actually did okay, but I went out and I found like the chocolate bars and everything. And I was sad to say that the only thing I couldn't get on my list was the Doritos ketchup. I couldn't get them in a small enough format that it would have made sense to ship.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
in case you tried them and you made, you know, and you hated them, I was like, okay, well, there's no sense in sending something giant. But that's what I did on Thursday. And then I was just kind of like this slow process of just trying to get back to food. So I know that while I was out shopping, I was fucking hungry. So half of the things I bought that day were for you and half of them were for me. So I ended up getting like these do you guys have Michelinas in the States? No, it's just like a frozen fettuccine or frozen macaroni, frozen lasagna, like microwavable dinners or whatever. And normally they were, you know, normally it'd be like, tastes like $1 meal. But
okay, I see.
But I was so fucking hungry because they were on sale. That's why I bought them. I wouldn't go, oh yeah, that. But they were on sale. I was like, I'll get some. And you're hungry, shopping hungry. Everyone knows you don't do that.
Oh yeah. Terrible.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna get these Michelinas. I made one, I think, like the fettuccine Alfredo. I'm like, that's just noodles and sauce. It should be fine. They got little pieces of pepper in it. I didn't realize until after I made it. And I was like, oh shit, that's going to get stuck in my holes and whatnot. But I made that and I cut it all up like a kid. You know what I mean? You give a kid, you can't give him a long noodle. He'll hang himself with it. So, so I'm like, I got to cut it up all small so I can shoot it down the water slide of my tongue. You know what I mean? To nourish. Oh my God. You'd think I was eating a steak dinner. Do you know what I mean? Like with how delicious it tastes after like 2 full days of like not having soup. I had soup once and I was just like, this is so fucking good. And I lost my mind. I think I went back the next day and I bought like 10 of every one of them. And I'm like, this is what I'm eating. $1 meals. So good. I now have a freezer full of fucking microwavable dinners. And I'm like, I'm not in a hurry to eat, but they were so good. It was a sip of water to a man in the desert. Let me tell you, it was like, oh, it's the best. It was, yeah. But I was eating Michelina's pastas, soup. I had some yogurt and the yogurt I had was raspberry.
Okay.
But it was raspberry. So it had the little raspberry seeds in it. Like me trying to avoid little seeds and things was brutal. I had bagels, but I was like, can't do it. They'd be crunchy and whatnot. And then they had like everything bagels. So it was like sesame, poppy seeds, like all the shit on them. Anyways, this is very boring for everyone, I'm sure. But all I'm saying is I did days of eating like prisoner food. Do you know what I mean? Like continental breakfast where little bits of fruit pieces and stuff. That is the one thing I mentioned on the last podcast that one of my friends brought fruit trays to our little barbecue. And we never ended up opening them. I was like, score. I'll let these ripen a little bit. But they were from Walmart. So the fruit was so fucking hard. You're like, how is watermelon this hard to bite through? Do you know what I mean? Anyways, yeah. I mean, so I'm just like, I'm just gonna let it age. I'll let it ripen so that it's so soft that I can chew it. But I think it turned to vinegar in the sauce. Like it turned into like prison toilet wine from all the juices just sitting there fucking fermenting or whatever. Can't win. But anyways, so I watched some flicks. That's what I spent the vast majority of my time doing is I started watching it. I watched Creed 2. Have you seen that?
No, I've never seen the Creed.
No. Have you seen any of the Rocky movies?
The Rocky ones, I think I saw the first one, but I was a little girl.
Okay, fair. The Rocky movies are classics. You got to see them. Like,
okay.
Yeah, and they're about like the underdog, the heart, the drive to keep going more than they are about just boxing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like there's a legitimate Rocky statue in Philadelphia, and he's not even a real dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, that's how proud they are of this fictional character. And even Bill Burr has a great joke about how, like, you know, that nobody of any character has ever come from Philadelphia, considering like the only statue of someone is a fictional character. But I watched Creed 2. So you basically have like 5 or 6 Rocky movies. And then the first Creed came out. And the idea with Creed is that this kid is the son of Apollo Creed, who was like the initial rival and then friend of Rocky Balboa.
Okay.
So whatever, they were enemies in the first movies and they become friends for him to fight another guy. And then in the 4th Rocky movie, Apollo Creed, the father, fights this Russian dude, Ivan Drago, and he kills him in the ring. He gets killed in the ring boxing. So then at the end of the movie, Rocky has to go to Russia to fight this guy. And of course he's Rocky. He wins. Okay. But in Creed, it's like Apollo Creed had this son he didn't know about. So he's basically coming back and he's in his father's shadow and whatever, he's going to be this boxer. And of course, Rocky meets him. Hey, let me tell you who your dad was and all this shit. Well, and then the second one, Creed 2, he fights the son of Ivan Drago, the guy who killed his father. So it's not, it's really, it's just like layered shit. I mean, if you've watched and grown up with the Rocky movies, like it all makes sense, but Balls movie. It was stupid. There was no part that made me give a fuck about any of the characters, and the bringing Ivan Drago's son to fight him, who, you know, son of the guy who killed your father. Yeah. Gimmick didn't pay off. Rocky 4, one of the best movies you could ever see.
Really?
Yeah, so good. In fact, it was one of those ones like, you know, TBS, like the old station or whatever.
Yeah.
It was one of those movies that TBS would be playing all the time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it's one of those ones, like I saw Rocky 4 probably 10 times before I saw any of the other Rocky movies. Oh, wow. But they're good. Like they're good story. Like Sylvester Stallone, there's a reason he keeps going back to that character and everything like that. It's a really good story of like an underdog, you know, and not just like, oh, you're going to lose, but the idea of somebody who, like, you know, never made something of themselves and then just keep it like Heart. Basically, it's a movie about like what you can do with Heart. It doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down. It matters how many times you could get, what is it? Or it doesn't matter how many beatings it takes. It matters how many times you get back up and keep going.
Yeah,
you know?
I heard him say that.
You get harder. Yeah, but that's like some of the sayings from Rocky. It matters how many times you can get hit and keep coming back. Anyways.
Americans can understand him.
Yeah, so basically just gibberish. You can do, but decent movie. Didn't like the Rocky movie's great. Creed 2, I didn't even finish the first Creed movie until I saw the trailer. I saw the trailer for the second one. I was like, oh, Ivan Drago. Here's a gimmick. That's all it was. I watched The Invisible Man.
Invisible Man.
Did you see that?
No.
It's relatively new. I think I watched it on Amazon Prime.
Oh,
I believe it's also on Crave TV. I don't think you guys have that in States, but yours maybe like a Hulu or something. And some chick, she's haunted by her dead husband. He's got like invisibility, and he comes back, and it's one of those ones where she can't get anyone to believe that she's being, you know.
Who's playing her? Or who's the actor?
Some chick from, I think, The Handmaid's. Well, here, you know what? The magic of internet. I got IMDb right here. So let's find out who she is. I think she was in The Handmaid's Tale. Invisible The Invisible Man. It is Elizabeth. Where the fuck is it? Come on. Elizabeth Moss. Oliver Jackson Cohen, Harriet something. See full cast and crew. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I've never seen it. Is it like a horror movie? It looks like a horror
Supposed to be. It's like horror suspense. It definitely wasn't horror. I can't say for a second it was horror. It was definitely suspenseful and whatnot.
Oh, okay.
But it got like a really high score on Rotten Tomatoes, and that's kind of like my go-to, because Rotten Tomatoes is like a mix of critic reviews and customer reviews, and then they just blend it together into a percentage out of 100. So usually when it's like, anything over like 70%, you're like, okay, it's a half decent movie,
Oh, okay.
So and this was like high 80s or low 90s. So I was like, oh shit, well, fuck it. Why not just,
Oh, then I like to watch it.
well, that's what I thought. I'm going to give you the actual score, so I'm not full of shit. Rotten Tomatoes.
91%.
Is that why you're already, fuck, how the fuck did you get this so fast?
Oh, I Googled it. I don't know.
Oh, it just came up in the Google result. Yeah, 91%. So there you go. Like, and that usually means like, I'm going to leave that up in case we have to search something else. But that usually means like, hey, the movie's absolutely incredible. So I was like, great. My roommate Simon was like, oh, it's a great movie. You got to see it. And what the fuck? Why is iMovie opening? I didn't click you, iMovie. Simon was like, oh, great movie. And I was like, all right. I watched it. I was like, okay, it's going to be great. Lots of suspense. Invisible Man. Who knows what could happen?
Yeah.
Boring.
Oh, really?
Boring. There was a couple scenes.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
No, I thought you were going to say that it was a good movie, that it was something that was going to be interesting, but really it was boring.
It was boring. It wasn't a terrible movie. It was average. What made it like fucking garbage to me was the fact that here I am hyped up for this 91% movie. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like,
I see what you mean.
let's have some fun here, because you and I talk about some of the classic movies that we like. So just for fun, if I take into Rotten Tomatoes, let me put in something like Labyrinth. Let's see what Labyrinth got. So 1986. Let's see if it even has a tomato score. There you go. 72% for Labyrinth.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. What's another like classic? Back to the Future came to my mind.
Legend?
Sorry?
Legend.
Yeah, Legend's another one. I'll bring that one up. So Back to the Future, great fucking movie. No question. Yeah. Great fucking movie. 80% is what the Rotten Tomato score is there. What's one of recent years would you think that's we said Legend, that was a Ridley Scott movie. So Legend. Oh, there's the Tom Hardy one that came out, 61. By the way, I like that better. Legend. Okay, get this. Legend got 38%, so it is considered a Rotten Tomato.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and I didn't mind that movie. I really didn't. Actually, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a movie I really enjoyed when I was young. So let's see what the critic reviews. This person liked it. It said, Legend is not without whimsical touches, but it surely could have used more humor and invention. Okay. This person who didn't like it said, I don't want to remember any more about Legend than to make sure I include it in my worst films of 1986 list and never rent it when it comes out as a video cassette. And he wrote that in March 27th, 2019. I think it must have been added, but it's from Gene Siskel. So Siskel and Ebert. Gene shit on it and he wanted to add it to his worst movies. I didn't fucking hate it. It wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad.
But looks like, again, according to audience reviews and everything, like audience scored it 73%. And I think that the critics, it was like the tomato meter count was 38%. But that's my go-to is like, so Back to the Future gets 80%. Invisible Man gets 91. So that's what I was working with, going, okay, well, if it's getting 91, then it's got to be a good ass movie. Like Christopher Nolan shit and, Martin Scorsese and Tarantino, like those guys, when they put out movies, they get those really high scores. So I watched this and I was like, I don't know where the fuck this 91% came from. So you know what I mean? Like, if people overhype a movie, when you see it, if it's anything more than just average, you're like, no, that was not what I expected.
Yeah.
So anyways, Invisible Man, just thumbs down. It was kind of like it's one of those ones too, where like you'd think with a good suspense movie, they kind of make sense of where everything comes from. didn't. It was just like a bunch of like jumps and then kind of nothing. And you're like, okay, well, how did it get this higher rating with no story?
Okay.
Did you ever see the movie What Lies Beneath?
Yeah, with Michelle Pfeiffer?
Yes.
Yeah.
To me, that was a great thriller. Horror, but it was scary. There's some ghosts and shit in it. But I love that movie.
But it was, I loved it too. I went to bought the DVD back when DVD was, in and stuff. But yeah, it is a good movie. It scared the hell out of me.
Yeah, because, well, it was directed by Robert Zemeckis, shockingly enough, the Back to the Future guy. He directed Back to the Future. He directed Forrest Gump. He directed Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh, that's another good movie.
Yeah. So like all these like classic kind of like movies with cutting edge, like, cause even Forrest Gump had a lot of like footage of him superimposed in like classic meetings of like John Lennon and things like that. So Robert Zemeckis is always kind of doing something different, but he did What Lies Beneath as well. And what I liked about that movie is it was almost like three different kinds of horror movies in one, or suspense movies, I should say. Because in the beginning of the movie, the wife suspects that the neighbor is a killer and she's watching him with bodies and she thinks that he killed his wife and everything like that. And then the second sort of horror thing happens where it's like this ghost is now tormenting her in the house. It's not the killer next door. It's a ghost that's tormenting her. And then finally the third act where it's like, oh my God, the real killer is, spoiler alert, freedom, whatever. But just like that, so it was like three different levels of kind of scary movie in one. And I thought it was really well done. But that one, that came to mind as like whole, like you kind of, all of the scares and everything you're going through in the movie. Yeah. At the end, it makes sense, everything that happened, as opposed to just being like, oh, wasn't that a scary movie? Well, what's the explanation? Shut up. You know what I mean? Like that was the Invisible Man. So I was kind of like, I'm trying to cross out these. Yeah. I watched Harley Quinn's Birds of Prey. Oh, you don't like superhero movies? Yeah. Stupid movie. I don't think it made me laugh. I didn't find it particularly good. And that's all I'll say about it. And speaking of birds, I saw Spies in Disguise. Have you seen that?
No.
No.
I don't have time to see movies.
No, I can't remember where I watched it. It might have been in Prime or whatever it is. It's Will Smith and Tom Holland.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, definitely haven't seen it. No.
I'm finding that like those animated movies are very hit or miss now. I have bitched about Pixar as of late on previous episodes, how it used to be, you guys can't see this, but Angie's wearing a Toy Story shirt. She's a big fan of Woody. So no, that's cool. Like I was talking about how it used to be a time where if a movie came out and it was like Pixar Studios presents, I'm like, it's going to be dope. Yeah. You know what I mean? Whatever they put out was good. And then I started to talk about how like the whole, Wall-E, I didn't love. Like first half was cute, second half was shit. And then it was just kind of like Brave and other kind of sequels to movies, Cars 2, and they started to just put out all these movies, Monsters Universe. They started doing sequels to everything.
Yeah.
And then there was so many titles like I just didn't like I think like Ratatouille was one of the last good ones that I enjoyed. And there's the odd one that's good. Like Inside Out was fine. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't. Anyways, the audience has heard me bitch about this before, but I'm at a point now where like, same thing with DreamWorks. DreamWorks was great. It was like Shrek was good, and DreamWorks had a couple other ones that were good properties. And then I don't know. It's almost like let's just do as many as we can. Somebody said Coco was really good, but I didn't see it. It is?
I would recommend Coco. Yeah.
Yeah.
Coco
Okay.
is really, really, really good. I would recommend it.
Okay. I was probably just like, all right, it's a bunch of dead mariachi bands or something. I guess I didn't watch the trailer, but I was like, it's a story of a dead mariachi band. I'm like,
it's very interesting because it's not like, again, it's not my culture because it's deep in Mexico. But it was interesting to learn what they do for their families that have passed and to keep them on going and moving on, to keep them alive still. So it was really interesting, and I loved it, and I told my mom to watch it, and my mom loved it as well. She thought it was interesting too, what they do deep, in Mexico on how to keep their family relatives that have passed away. ongoing on and stuff. But I don't want to give too much away. But it's
I don't know
really,
if anyone's going to watch it. I haven't. Well, actually, I should watch it. I should take your recommendation. And now every time one of these movies comes out, I watched a while back. I saw Onward. That was the one that I saw, the Pixar one, and that one's Tom Holland as well with Chris Pratt, and it was cute. It was cute. It wasn't bad, but I actually saw Kevin Smith was like in tears reviewing that movie, talking about how like if he spent the rest of his life making movies, he'd still never make anything as good as Onward. It was such a heartwarming story, and he's like, man, it made me want to call my brother, and I miss my dad, and all these things like that. And I was like, okay.
I did. I cried. I will admit, it made me cry. It hit home a little bit. It was just like, whoa, like this. I don't know. This is awesome how some of these cartoon movies they make them to where you actually put feelings into them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I would. That's another one. You've seen it, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So you didn't cry? You didn't find it emotional?
Well, it was almost like here's the thing is I could see what they were doing when he made his list of what he wanted to do with his dad.
Yeah.
So
okay.
as they were doing it in the movie, I saw it happening. I go, he's doing everything that was on the list. It's his brother who's going to be his father figure and everything like that. So,
okay.
So yeah, like sometimes, I don't know. That's what kind of sucks about sometimes working in the entertainment industry or whatever. Like it's the same with jokes, right? I watch stand up the same way is when as soon as a comic starts setting up the joke, I'm going, he said this, he said that. And it's kind of like pieces. And then you're almost trying to put it together. And to me, I don't want to be able to put it together with the pieces faster than you actually put it together. So sometimes a comic will be like, well, it was this and this. And I go, yeah, he's going to say this. And then he's like, and then guess what? I did this. I'm like, yeah, it's exactly what I said. And I got there faster than you did. So I like my comedy to surprise me a little bit. You know what I mean? Like I like it when I'm like, oh, I didn't see you. There's comics who are really funny who actually do a funny job of giving you pieces that make you put it together a certain way. And then they hit you from over here. So they know that you're going to be trying to put it together and they give you pieces. And then when the punchline hits, it's not what you expected. And so you're like, oh, like it's a really, really good one. John Doerr from Ottawa is a fucking great comic. He lives I think he lives in Alaska now, but he lived in Los Angeles. He was on Conan and a bunch of things. And John had this great joke where he was like, this was like right after Obama became president. And he was like, I have like a 4-year-old nephew who's like, Uncle John, will there ever be a white president in my lifetime? And he goes, this is so funny. How do you explain to a 4-year-old, hey, Billy, you have leukemia? Or as he calls it ukema. He's so stupid. It's probably for the best. But that's the thing, right? When he's setting up the joke, like you don't think he's like, will there ever be a white in my lifetime? And it's like, well, no, you're going to die. So no, not, but he does a really good job of making you think that he's going in one direction and then completely sidetracking you with something else.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're good at reading stuff like that.
What's that?
So you're good at reading stuff like that.
Well, the idea is that you're used to looking for the pieces because you know that in every movie, like in every scene, there's a reason for every scene that they're giving you something. Even just like when someone's talking about something, like if you're at the beginning of a movie and someone's like, oh, move your backpack, I keep tripping over it. Like that there's a reason that they mentioned that. You know what I mean? Because later on in the movie, maybe they're running from a murderer and they trips over the fucking backpack or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, when it's like, oh, I'm really good at golf or whatever. Okay. Well, like later on, he's going to find a golf club and hit the ball. And I mean, that really, it's like, but they never, for the most part, like 95% of the time, they don't address and say and do things just so it sounds like they're having a conversation. Like everything is in there for a reason. And so, when you see the list beforehand in Onward, I'm like, those things are, like it could just be like, hey, there's some things he wants to do with his dad. But as soon as like he did the second thing on the list with Farley, I'm like, these are the things from his list. So this is him reinforcing that this is his father figure. You know what I mean? And they all have 3 acts, right? All things have 3 acts. There's the first act, the second act, and then the closing.
Yeah.
Right? So where the conflict becomes its highest and then the resolution at the end. But it's just, so yeah. So I personally, when I saw the list and then saw some of the things on the list happening with his brother, I was like, makes sense.
Oh, wow.
And how yeah.
Really? Okay. I didn't know until like again when he was at the very end when he's like, I'm not going to see my dad, and he's just sitting with his dad, and he's then realizing it, and then that's when it hit me, and I was like bawling my eyes out. Like, oh, no.
Oh, my chest got tight too. Like it was still nice, but I'm like, fuck you for manipulating me this way. Like I know what you're doing, you know?
Yeah.
So, but it was still one of the better ones that I saw for a while. And it was cute how it was done. Like I said, just sometimes when you do things like, I don't know if you know much about home renovation, but like there's like a magic that's lost once you start to get into construction and stuff. Once you've done renovations and you know what it looks like behind the wall and you know how everything works, there's a bit of a mystery and a mystique that's gone. You know what I mean? And then then you start walking into rooms and you can see all the little errors and shit. You know what I mean? Where you're like, oh, someone did a fuck, you know, as opposed to just looking at it as a whole. You know what I mean? So yeah. I don't know. That's kind. I mean, it's just kind of the way it is for entertainment stuff with me now. As you're looking at something, and a lot of the time you can even see where like the edits are, and you're like, oh, they're gonna have to edit that, or I wonder how many takes that took, or whatever it is.
Wow, that's very interesting to know.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the reasons that I don't like to edit the podcast is that I like it more authentic. Like instead of cutting it up and trying to shorten it, and every time something comes in, it's more real. Everyone gets to hear that 1 hour moment in time with me sitting here and just talking to my wall whenever I don't have a guest like yourself here. But Spies in Disguise, also Tom Holland, he was in Onward, and plays a very similar sort of young, goofy kid or whatever. And Will Smith plays a spy who turns into a pigeon and then back to it. It's just,
wow.
Yeah, it's just boring. I mean, like, again, these are kids' movies. This is the one man podcast where Josh watches a children's movie and then bitches about it. Because I didn't feel it spoke to me. You watched the trailer, right? It was Will Smith as a pigeon. I was like, yeah, I didn't like it. But what else do we have here? Okay, that's it from, have you ever seen the movie Odd Thomas?
Odd Thomas? No.
Odd Thomas. Yeah. Good movie.
Really?
Not the best. Let's, since it's open, I want to see what the Rotten Tomatoes gave it. Odd Thomas is what it's called. And it had Anton Yelchin in it, who was in everything. Fuck you, 38% Rotten Tomatoes. 38%. Yeah, they didn't like it. They did not like it. Odd Thomas had Anton Yelchin in it. He was in a bunch of movies like Charlie Bartlett. He was in Terminator Salvation. He played he played Kyle Reese.
Okay.
John Connor's father. But he played Chekhov in the new Star Trek movies. He was in a bunch of things, but he was a young actor and he died, I think in 2016 or 17. His SUV like pinned him against a gate and he died or whatever. That's him. Yeah. Anton Yelchin, ANTONYELCHIN. And, he was a really good actor. He was on his way up. Oh, are you still there, Angie? It's frozen.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, I can still hear you. I just can't see it yet. So, yeah, I was kind of a bummer when he died because I liked his movies. Like he was good at everything, and he's the main character in Odd Thomas.
Okay, you were frozen on my end as well, and I was going to take a picture because I wanted you to see it. You were stuck with your eyes like crossed up, but you were looking up, and I was trying my best not to laugh.
Well, you could laugh. That's funny. So Odd Thomas is a cool movie where he plays kind of like someone who can see that, like it's like if the Sixth Sense was good.
Okay.
So he plays someone who can see dead people.
Okay.
And these other creatures and things. So it's kind of like he solving supernatural kind of crimes or whatever. But then of course there's a bigger story involved. Do you need to do the phone?
It's a text. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, do it. So anyways, Odd Thomas, he sees he sees dead people, but then there's also these other things called like Bodocs, which are like these like spirits and things that kind of follow bad people around. So they're almost like how they're his compass to find these things. bunch of cool things. So it's kind of like a murder mystery, but supernatural. It has some fun elements. It's cute. It's funny. Some pretty good, like kind of like jump scares.
Okay.
But fun movie, I thought overall. And I think it was one of the last ones he did before he died.
Wow.
Yeah, but there was some movies still coming out after his death. But good actor, good kid.
Yeah.
I feel like he's one of those ones who would have been like continuously like doing good movies, like Leonardo DiCaprio. He's not good looking like him, but he had shitloads of talent. And you're like, this is a guy who continued to just keep playing shit, you know, like, and to have that resume, like in Terminator, in Star Trek, in, you know, he was in Charlie Bartlett with Robert Downey Jr. So
he also did Alpha Dog.
Oh, was he in that?
Story. Yeah, he was the kid. He played the kid that they kidnapped.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't see that one.
Oh, you never saw that one? It's based on a true story. It is really good. Justin Timberlake comes out on that one as well.
Yeah, and I know that the other kid there, the one from The Girl Next Door or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sakes. I'm going to have to get his name or I'm never going to move on with my life.
I know.
And it's going to come to me like right before The Girl Next Door. Emil Hirsch, because I knew he had one of those stupid like names.
Oh, that is.
But yeah, Emil Hirsch. Oh, The Girl Next Door. Whoa, what is this? Stacey Valentine, Jack Gallagher. This is a fucking sexy cover to a movie. What is this? Come on, give me the actress's name. Is there a name? This is a documentary? A documentary by Christine something, the housewife to porn star, The Girl Next Door. And how the fuck do I find this? And it got a 91% score. I don't know.
Wow.
So here's the movie info to the sorry listeners, but I found something a little more interesting at the moment. Christine Fugate's look into the porn career of Stacey Valentine begins during the marriage that led her to the industry. When Stacey wins a Hustler magazine contest that her husband urged her to enter, she's thrust into a world of opportunities. Wow. He told her to get into it, and then she gets into porn. She leaves her husband, what a bitch, and moves to Los Angeles, where honey, you're beautiful. You should submit your pictures to this magazine. And then they're like, yes, you are beautiful. I am? Well, see you later, sucker. I'm off to get plowed. She leaves her husband and moves to Los Angeles, where she pursues acting in hardcore porn films. Candid footage from Candid or graphic? Because I don't give a fuck about candid. I care about graphic there. Candid footage from Valentine's life explores her multiple plastic surgeries. Gross. Her tumultuous relationship with a fellow actor and her personal issues, of which I'm sure there are many. Stacey Valentine, Jack Gallagher as himself, Russell Hampshire, never heard of him, himself, president and VCA Pictures, Veronica Hart, Brandon Ladd, Julian, that's all it says, just Julian as himself. Oh, that Julian? I want to read one of these people's reviews. Oh, you know what? It's all guys reviewing it. Oh, okay. I was waiting to see like one female reviewer with like a Rotten Tomato. This is disgusting. This guy says, as a behind the scenes life of the sex industry, you get the same fascinating bird's eye view that Paul Thomas Anderson gave you in Boogie Nights. I doubt that very much. Then there's these two people that give it tomatoes and it just says, quote, not available. And then a guy who didn't like it, quote, not available. Here's a chick. I got to read what Beth Accomando said. The Girl Next Door shows porn star Stacey Valentine's fierce determination to do whatever it takes to succeed in her chosen profession. Isn't that any chick in her chosen profession? If she's fucking somebody in that business, isn't that doing whatever it takes, regardless of the profession? Director Fugate's accomplishment is to turn this Barbie doll caricature into a fully realized human being. It's not his fucking job to do that. Anyways, all right. So that was Emil Hirsch was what we were looking for from Smoke Dog or whatever, Alpha Dog.
Alpha Dog, yeah. Ben Foster and Sharon Stone and Bruce Willis also came out in that one.
Oh yeah,
yeah. A lot of famous actors, like what is it called when they're list A or whatever?
Oh, A-listers, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, they came out in that movie. But it's a real good movie. It's sad because it is based on a true story, and they're they're showing you what he went throughout the entire day. And yeah, it's pretty good. I don't want to give too much away, but it's a good movie. It's a good movie.
I'm always willing to give it a shot. What happens? Oh, I want to see if I can move myself. How do I move myself around on the screen? Share your screen. I don't mind doing that. What is this? Exit full screen?
Do I have to do it?
No, you don't have to do anything.
Okay.
I'm just trying to find where, okay, there's me tucked in, but can I move me? I guess not. I'll go fuck myself. I've literally got my, like just a little bit of laptops cut off from the mic, and it just happens to be my stupid face. So you have to look at it, but I don't. So yeah, that was, I think, Odd Thomas. The only other thing that I watched, I put some movies kind of like I want to watch them, and I thought I'd ask you, are you a scary movie fan?
I do, but I have to watch them with my husband.
Okay.
I can't watch them alone. Yeah.
Okay.
I have to watch.
I'm kind of like that. I have to watch them with your husband too. No, I generally speaking have to usually I like watching horror movies with someone else. I will watch them alone, but it has to be during the day. Do you know what I mean? Because I have a very overactive imagination and a closet door that won't close. So
yeah.
I put on a few, I watched, I might save this for the next podcast. You know what? I'm going to make a note right now and put this on the next podcast just because. Did you watch The Boys?
The Boys. No.
It's kind of superhero-y, so I would imagine you probably wouldn't like it.
Okay, then no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is fair. There you go. Now I can take it off the list of stuff to talk about this episode. Fuck that show. So, no, it's cool. We have a lot of shit to talk about still, and we're at the 40-minute mark. See, it's flying by. Easy peasy.
Wow.
Yeah. Are you having fun?
Yeah.
Good.
This is different for me.
Fair. Well, do you have any so it's October, and I kind of like to watch, I mean, I like watching scary movies all the time. Unfortunately, you kind of have to watch usually it's somewhere between 5 and 10 bad scary movies for every good one that you get.
Yeah, that's true.
And I saw a movie, I got a couple of them that I'm lining up there. The new, what is it? The Haunting at something Bry House, something like that is on Netflix.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I want to see it, but again, I'm not going to watch it without my husband.
Yeah. Well, I found the first one, it came off a little scary at first because House on Haunted Hill and all those movies were pretty fucking creepy. And
oh yeah, did you see the one from Netflix last time? Like about 2-3 years ago?
The Haunting on Hill House or whatever?
Or something like that.
Yeah, it's the same people that's doing the Haunting at Bly House.
Oh,
same
nice.
Actors and everything. So they got the same cast back to tell this story. Yeah.
So is it gonna blend with the first one? Okay, so this is totally different.
A different story, different haunting, whatever. So, but I found when I first came out, I was like, ooh, Haunting at Hill House, and again a good score on Rotten Tomatoes. I was like, okay, but I found that it would have 1 or 2 jump scares an episode, and then the rest of it was kind of a really long-winded story.
Oh,
do you know what I mean? I felt like it could have been over in 3 episodes instead. And then you watched it, right?
I haven't watched it yet. No.
No, the first one, the Hill House one.
Oh, the first one, yes.
With the wife, and that first episode where something's chasing them down the hall, and then you find out, oh, it was just the mother or whatever.
Yeah.
And then and then every time they see a monster, it was just themselves warning themselves in the future or something like that.
Oh my gosh! The one, the lady at
the bent neck lady. Yeah.
Oh my god! Yeah.
But then you're just oh, but it's just them. Looking at yourself or whatever. So you're the adult version of you or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So I found, I was kind of so what was haunting you then? And all the scratching behind the wall, all of it kind of just fizzled into nothing really scary. It was just the house keeps you here. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of find whenever it was nothing was really happening, you're oh, well, boring then.
Yeah.
What was the real threat if it was just you warning yourself of something or whatever, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't hate it. I watched the whole thing, but I kind of like the Blair Witch style shit where it's supernatural and it's coming to fuck you up.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not this it's a story about loving yourself and family and what would you do if you lost each other and mom and dad would die for you kids because we love you, and it's ugh. Trying to make you cry at the end. Love you too, man. Big long. What horror movie are you hugging and kissing the ghosts at the end of? You know what I mean? Bye. Never forget you. I don't. Like, that's not like, I want the last couple seconds to be like, you barely escaped. I love the ones where in the last couple seconds, it's like a fucking hand creeps over their head and grabs their face and cuts to black. You're like, yeah, they got fucked up. You know what I mean? The Grudge, where, you just hear the,
Oh my God. Yeah.
at the end, you know what I mean? Like, that's the horrors that I like, where it's like, yeah, it's scary right till the end, not 20 minutes. Mom, I love you.
Well, then have you seen all the Conjuring ones? The
Yep.
Conjuring ones and Annabelle?
Yep.
Did you watch all of the Annabelle ones?
Yep. And every one of them scary. Every one of them scary.
Oh my gosh.
The last
Terrifying.
one where they had like werewolves manifesting, I thought that one was kind of when the Annabelle comes home and then the kid with the guitars running around outside, he's hiding in a chicken coop because there's a werewolf outside. Like, well, they're ghosts. So the idea that like there's a full blown werewolf cutting through a car and shit, I'm like, now we're in like, there's monsters and creatures. Whereas everything could have been like ghost apparitions inside the house, but now there's like a werewolf running around killing chick. I'm like, yeah, I don't think so.
The Nun? Did you like The Nun? That's
No.
also part of
No.
the Conjuring ones.
Yep. I thought that one was really shitty.
Really?
Yeah.
The
It was,
Nun.
there was creepy jump scares at the moment, but when you look back on the story, like, again, it's all fiction except for the Ed and Lorraine part and their museum part. But I found the first Conjuring movie very freaky. In fact, I told the audience about the horror movie book, but I didn't tell them that I was reading something to you, and I had to stop because I was like, yeah, too freaky. And it was the Conjuring ones that we were reading where I was like, yeah, I'm over this right now. Like, too creepy. They did a good job with that one, and that one kind of like I don't want to say it made sense because the idea of anything supernatural, like most people, like, it's not real, and like, of course there'd be more documentation if it was real, but it's still creepy. And so the idea that like I liked the story, I found it freaky. The Annabelle movie was freaky. I found that one a little more far-fetched, the story, but it was creepy. Like that scene where she gets in the elevator and the door closes in the basement. She's like, oh, I'm fine. And then the door opens and she's still in the basement. And it was like, oh, fuck. That just the idea that you're not leaving where you are is so fucking creepy. And I'm in the theater with my fucking eyes closed and everything like that. Like the idea is just to run into the thing and then up the stairs because like the emergency exit's on the other side of where she saw like the black face demon. And then she gets like up the stairs and she's kind of like looking back down the staircase. And it's like, is there something there? And then the fucking lightning flashes or whatever. And it's that black fucking demon thing looking at her from the, like looking up the fucking staircase at her or whatever. Oh my God. Oh geez. That was fucking creepy. The story again. So at the end of the movie, the story wasn't super great, but it did as a horror movie, it did its job because it definitely freaked me out the vast majority of the movie.
Okay.
Yeah. The Conjuring 2, also great. Super freaky, all sorts of great stuff in that one. Annabelle, original Annabelle, the original or Awakenings or something. I can't remember what the hell it was called.
Yeah, I can't remember, but I know which one.
Creation was what it was called.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there's like all of a sudden this one has a little girl going, can Annabelle come out and play or something? Or that was I think that was an Annabelle Comes Home, but there's this little girl associated with it because she was crossing the street and got hit by a car. Like, they were attaching too much to this doll because the real story was supposed to be that like, so I don't know if you know this. And I always tell like, Jason's always like, hey, no, I go like, oh, the lore says, I'm like, vampires are killed by, sunlight. They're not real, but in the lore, that's the rules. Well, in the lore of demons, just like they say in the very beginning of the Conjuring movie is that demons don't possess things. They possess people. So the idea is that like a ghost might inhabit something, but a demon doesn't possess a doll. The idea is that they manipulate them and they move them around to give the illusion that this thing is possessed. And I think they talk about it because Ed and Lorraine Warren are very fascinating people. They are the only she just died. He was dead for a while and she just died. So they're gone. But they were the only couple that was like sanctioned by the church to perform exorcisms. Right. Whereas that was something specifically that priests do. They were the only two that were allowed by the church to perform exorcisms. And they talk about how like there's the 3 stages of possession, which I think is like, I I know that infestation and then possession are the two.
Yeah.
I think they're the two final ones, but let's go back to the Google to get the answer on this. Sorry, I'm girl next door. I'm gonna have to close your tab. 3 stages of possession. I know infestation, demonic possession, signs of possession, The Conjuring on Twitter. Okay, there we go. But I think it's like the something infestation. Yeah, infestation. Okay, sorry. Infestation is the first one. Oppression and then possession. So the first one, the infestation portion is like, the things where they'll move something around. You know what I mean? Like they'll move something around and then, try to basically like fuck with you a little bit. And then the oppression is where they start to scare you and make you feel isolated and make you feel weak and make you feel afraid and make you question your judgment. And the idea is that it's all just meant to break you down for the final stage, which is possession. And that's when they take you when they've broken you down and everything. Again, according to the lore. Yeah. So yeah, it was a cool story when they're like, oh, they said that we were a little girl. Cause a lot of things with witchcraft, speaking of which, I'll do a little plug for a DK book. I've got a history of witchcraft and the occult, which I'll be reading in the near future. But a lot of those kind of even, what do you call it? Oh, what's up, D?
What's going on?
Not much. I didn't realize you could just jump into this. You're being recorded audio, just a heads up.
Cool. I'll try not to say anything bad.
No, you can say whatever you want. I'm just be forewarned. For quality assurance purposes, this phone call may be.
You might have called us on the group chat.
Yeah, so we've got Dylan here as well, another one of my PlayStation group members here on the just jumping in. I love that. That's awesome. We were just talking about like kind of like witchcraft and the occult stuff or whatever in terms of the lore and whatnot. Not to say that either one of us particularly believes in it. But yeah, so even when you're doing like rituals or whatever, the whole idea is that like you welcome, this is like in the Wiccan stuff or whatever, is that you welcome spirits, you give them an offering, you make a circle, you're respectful, and then you bid farewell or whatever, which is why a lot of people say with like things like the Ouija board or whatever, is that you don't just, who else are we getting? Oh, Red's on too. We're recording the pod. What the fuck is going on? Did you guys just message and say like, hey, everyone jump on. We're recording the podcast. Johnny, Red, how's it going? That's so hilarious that everyone's on. Red, how's it going? John, how's it going? Everyone?
Well, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Because my watch kept being like, bling, bling. Somebody joined the call. I'm like, what call? What the fuck?
Well, I guess I tried to call Angie out of the PlayStation group. And so maybe it let everyone know that there's a call happening and to feel free to come on in. I don't mind that you guys are here. It's just gonna.
I had a green button that said join and I clicked it.
You called everybody. Like went to the message.
Oh well, how about that? I'm not the greatest at technology.
John said it looks like
you're hiding in a closet. Not even on her phone.
Well, Angie's on the laptop because I figured it'd be easier to do it that way. Sorry, what did you say, Red? John, what?
John says it looks like you're hiding in a closet.
Yeah, I live in a fucking closet. You didn't know that? I'm terrified of the outside world. That's why I communicate via podcast with everybody. Mm-hmm. We're talking horror movies and the occult right now.
Oh yeah,
I just finished watching some of the like House at Bly Manor.
Oh, we were talking about that briefly and how I didn't love the first one because I thought there was too long of a tearful goodbye at the end of the first one. How was it? Just thumbs up or thumbs down?
I'm not done yet. I'm only like halfway through.
Halfway through one episode or halfway through the entire season?
The entire season.
Yeah, so halfway through, thumbs up or thumbs down?
Yeah, it's still not bad.
Yeah, thanks, John. John gives a big thumbs down. I appreciate it. Is it even scary or is it just boring, more bullshit like the first one?
It's a little more like jump scary. I don't know, not really.
Oh, it's boring bullshit.
Yeah, it's still very like mental health kind of like. Yeah.
Mental health? The first one was like the fucking mother had migraines and bipolar or whatever the fuck. I found the first one had so much potential. And then it just ends up being like, oh, your family loves you and all the ghosts are just you from the future. And then the last episode is them all just bawling their eyes out, saying goodbye to each other. And your mother and I love you. I'm like, fuck yourself. I just finished saying.
A big commentary on like mental health, wasn't it?
Well, like, whatever the fuck it is, they can take their woke bullshit and keep it out of my goddamn horror movies. Like I'm not trying to feel good about fucking, oh, she's schizophrenic or whatever. I don't know, or at least make the story better. Don't tell me, oh, the bent neck lady or whatever. Oh, it was just you that killed yourself you're visiting yourself in the past to fuck yourself up psychologically for some reason. Like to what?
Tell people that you're spoilering the whole fucking show.
Why are you always telling me how to run my life? You start a podcast and you follow your own fucking rules when you do it.
Aw, for that.
We're saying it's Halloween, so we're trying to talk about how
long I've known this asshole.
every day that I'm with you in your life is a gift.
I'm just waiting for you to become famous so I can know somebody famous. Come on, get on with it already.
Same here. I'm like, wait till he's famous. I'm gonna be like, look, that's my friend.
Yeah,
That,
sure.
I knew him before.
Dee, are you a horror movie guy?
I think he.
Are you
I
muted?
do enjoy me some horror movies, yes, sir.
Have you seen a good one as of late?
Oh. Have we seen a good horror movie? I mean, I thought it's kind of sucked.
The second
To be
one was
honest with you.
hot garbage. I loved the first one.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It too was hot garbage.
Yeah.
I never saw
Um,
number 2.
One is good, Angie. One was
I don't-
so
yeah,
so
one's
good to
not
the source
bad.
material.
It does the book justice,
Big
but
time.
2 was garbage.
Yeah, 2 was the like 1, they were the most in line with the book, and then 2, they took so many creative liberties and just did the dumbest. Yeah, I really disliked. They basically turned it into an Austin Powers movie in the sense that like what worked in the first one, they just did it again in the second one, but it didn't add to the story. Like he kills a bunch more little kids that he didn't do in the book. Like, I think the idea with him killing, like, a spoiler alert, but if you haven't seen it, go fuck. Sorry, Angie hasn't seen it. Angie, the opening scene of it, the first one, is upsetting. It's upsetting, but it's the strategy of that is to let you know just how serious the situation is.
Well, it's okay if you say anything about the movie. I'm never gonna see it. I don't do clowns, first of all.
Oh, then you got to do it. If you like being scared, you got to do it. You got to do it.
I can't. No, that's one thing that I'm very terrified of is clowns. And I know everyone's gonna be like, "Oh,
No. Hey, listen, clowns are up there. If you gave a top 5
They're
of what
not
people are scared of,
they're not funny." I hate that they think they're funny and they squeak their nose. Oh, it's so scary.
they squeak their nose. It's the nose squeaking cocksuckers that she doesn't like.
And they think they're so funny with. Oh no.
Aren't I funny?
I like how she's been personally fucked over by a clown or two. Yeah, I've got a bunch of shit to do and I'm doing it.
Are there?
This is my morning time right now, unfortunately.
Oh, are you getting ready for work?
No, I'm off tonight.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, no, are there, it was good. That basically the beginning of the movie is he, it's classic. He convinces a kid to come to the sewer drain where he is and he kills the little kid. And that's kind of the catalyst for the movie, right?
Yeah, what a dumbass kid.
Yeah. Don't you want your boat back, Georgie? In fact, Red actually dressed her son as Georgie for Halloween a few years ago.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah, his first Halloween.
Yeah. His first Halloween, she dresses him as the murdered child.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was good. I thought it was pretty
like
funny.
A skeleton onesie on with a yellow jacket and rubber boots and a red balloon.
Nice.
In true redneck spirit, I disabled the safety.
Oh, Water got this the bug assault, which is like it looks like a Nerf gun that apparently you put salt into and you murder bugs with.
Was that
Yeah,
what
it is
that
not a
was?
Nerf gun.
Yeah.
This thing is pretty terrible.
It doesn't work well.
Yeah, I could put up a little piece of tin and show you. It works amazingly well.
I would. The only thing is that the audience won't get to see that. So
Right.
yeah, because now I unfortunately, like someday when I have a production value and I feel like doing a bunch of post-production editing video as well.
Oh, I'm sure they've
do
got
it.
YouTube videos somewhere of what it does to things.
Yeah, there you go. But it's called Bug Assault. Bug-A-Salt.
Yeah,
And
I shot a fly from about 3 feet, and I watched its little face explode against my window. That was pretty fun.
You just get at the Windex afterwards.
Oh yeah. Well, my wife has literally been cleaning up dead flies.
You're like the exterminator. You put on the sunglasses and the leather jacket and just go around the house eliminating flies' futures.
I told her, I said, I have 2 days off. Don't take this from me.
That's great. So yeah, I was pitching
the Stephen King movies though. Like, I don't know why he does that. Like, either like he gives away the rights to his stuff, and either the movie is amazing because the person making it is like a fan,
yeah,
or it's just hot garbage.
Yep.
Like, there's no like kind of like, meh, I guess it was okay. It's like, no, it was like amazing, like, you know, The Shining or whatever.
Yep.
Or it was absolutely awful. Like,
you found The Shining to be amazing?
well, wasn't it like a cult classic in its time?
Definitely cult classic, but so is Troll 2, which is one of the worst movies ever fucking made. Worst acting,
The
worst
Shining
everything.
was awesome. It was scary. It scared me as a kid.
There was scary elements to it, but it was different. Like, it was Stanley Kubrick took a lot of creative liberties with it. So it still ended up being something that was scary, but a lot of the things that happened in it.
Like, Stephen King seems to just let people do whatever the hell they want.
Exactly. And
like he's like, I don't care, you do whatever you want. Like,
well,
you're like, that's kind of weird.
The problem with Stephen King shit is too that like he'll write a really good story 90% through, and then the ending is just like, it's almost like he got to the night before and had to wrap it up for the deadline. Like Needful Things, I don't know if I've ever said this in a podcast, but Needful Things is one of the best fucking stories I've ever read in terms of like suspense and just creating an intricate web of things that happen. And then at the end, the guy turns into a demon and flies off into the sky, and you're like, what? Like, it's like, it was almost as insulting as he woke up and it was all a dream. And you're like, really? So nothing.
Under the Dome was similar too. It was so bad at the end. I was like, oh man, really?
Well, you and I both, and you're further into the series than I am, but you and I are both read the Dark Tower series, and that's good. That's good. Yeah, I feel like the story.
I'm on the last book though, and I'm having a hard time getting into it.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like the style changed a lot.
Well, they're like 20 some odd years apart, the books, if I'm not mistaken. Like,
well, I think the last couple were written pretty close together.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like he felt like he was trying to finish it. So that was kind of like, oh, instead of taking your time and doing these right. Angie is so bored, she's making a mustache out of her hair.
No, not bored.
And Dylan is doing what Dylan does best, which is awesome.
No, when I get a little nervous, I play with my hair.
Are you nervous? What's because of the conversation?
No, just the whole podcast.
When my hair is straight, I'm like, I do this all day long.
Oh, really?
People are like, what are you doing? And I'm like, nothing.
I know. That's ladies.
Yeah, look at that. You guys all have long hair. I'll have to start playing with my pubes to match you.
I have long hair.
I wonder if that would be like the new hipster thing. Like you grow your pubes out so long that you can like braid it like Thor's beard.
Oh my god!
You know what I mean?
I bet there's hipsters with plaited.
I don't know. They do the waffle iron. They waffle it, and they're like, "What do you think of that?"
Oh my god!
Beautiful.
They're plaits, right, Angie? I don't know.
I don't know.
You fucking know.
You guys, you know what's great about the fact that it's us on right now, all four of us, and none of the kiddos. So I'm gonna talk about this thing with. This is great that you guys are here. So feel free to stick around as long as you guys want. I've still got to talk about. Let's see here. Well, I was asking if anyone had any Halloween movie suggestions. So as anyone, the new Rob Zombie Halloweens are fucking awesome and dark.
Yes, they're great.
Yeah. Did you see them, Angie?
When I was younger and fatter, I looked like that young kid from the Halloween movie.
Oh yeah.
I made hash yesterday. It's
nice.
Pretty great. Yeah.
You could tell it looks pretty good. Did you see that one, Angie? The Halloween movies, the new ones?
No, I haven't seen it. That's what I'm saying. Is it on Netflix or Amazon Prime?
I believe Amazon Prime. I'm pretty fucking confident. But it's like they did a great job. So Rob Zombie directed the second one, not so much. It wasn't bad. It's just your standard slasher horror movie. But what was I found well done with Rob Zombie's Halloween is that instead of it being like this opening scene where, he kills his sister because she didn't take him trick-or-treating, and then Red's got a guilty look on her face. Oh, it's Tina. No, is that Ty?
No, that's Tina.
Okay.
What is it called?
She's showing me the cats. She's
Oh.
showing me her pussy. There's, everyone looked. It's funny because everyone was looking away from the fucking video, and then I say that everyone's eyes turn right back to the screen. What?
I saw it was a cat first. Calm down.
The Rob Zombie, what he did was instead of it being a quick little like, oh, he killed his parents or killed his sister, and then goes to an insane asylum, and 20 years later, they showed a really good growth. Like I think it's a good 30 minutes before he becomes an adult, because it's showing him as a kid and sort of those little like psychotic tendencies of a psychopath, the torturing small animals and this and that. And they did a really good job of showing kind of his two personalities, where he would like wear a mask and then, take it off. And whenever he did something, particularly weird, he kind of pull his mask down, and it showed the duality. And then of course, later on as he grows up, it's just the humanity is entirely gone, and it's just this psychopath. But it was really well done. It was really well done, and it was freaky, and there was a good amount of jump scares, and it was I gotta say, it's probably one of the best remakes of a horror movie I've ever seen.
What, really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
really well done. But it's heavy, like in Rob Zombie style. Like the murders are like when he beats.
They're pretty gruesome.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Yeah. And it's good. It's well done. It's not shitty. It's not hacky, anything like that. The only thing is there's a scene where he like basically beats as a kid, he beats another kid to death. And that was a heavy scene. It's not gory. It's just like, fuck, like killing like basically the kid's a bully, and he goes from bullying him to begging for his life in a matter of like seconds. And it was just like, Jesus Christ.
Oh, wow.
I'm not I like the Hostel movies and stuff, but again, just anybody begging for their life is just kind of upsetting to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for some reason I can watch like 6 black guys fuck a tiny little white chick, and that doesn't bother me as much. I mean, somebody who should be begging for their life. Just let me go. But for some reason I stay hard during that. Yet
God.
Red's like smiling. I want to catch your laughter on audio just so they know.
She's
just shaking her head no, but a huge fucking grin. I love how she enjoys the humor and gets to reprimand me for it at the same fucking time. Talk about having your cake and eating it too.
It's just so predictable.
Oh, so predictable. What am I going to say next?
You're so funny.
You're probably going to start talking about how you're going to get paid $1 million to fuck your mom.
Oh, I put that in the group. Yeah, I put that in the group. Don't get me started on that. That is that number exists. That number exists.
How did this podcast went from one direction to this other direction? Holy cow.
That I'm going to bed. Peace out.
Oh, I don't care. I'm not embarrassed. I just don't have the answer. I very rarely caught without, the answer to something. Like I know I could suck a cock for $1 million. Happily, not a moment's hesitation.
God.
Wicked into it. And the funny thing too is like, you'd think there's so many guys who are like, well, I guess I'd have to do it for $1 million. But then that they wouldn't put their back into it, right? So they'd end up being like, I'm like, well, try. It'll be over with. Do a good job.
Oh, God.
And it'll be over sooner, right? Like rip the Band-Aid.
I want to know who's the guy giving out $1 million for me to suck his cock. Like, who the fuck am I?
Right. Well, that's the thing. I've always joked, because there's a few comics who do a bit about that, about, would you do it for $1 million? And then it's like, who's this guy that they talk about the guy? For me, I'm like, I wouldn't see it as a guy who wants to pay me $1 million. I would see it as this gig that was out there. There's some guy's offering $1 million to suck his cock. And my first instinct was, wow, what horrible shit am I going to have to do just to land that gig? You know what I mean? Like, because of all the choices he's going to have.
My grandmother first.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm going to have to do a bunch of debaucherous shit.
For money.
Oh, Red, is your phone going off?
No.
We just heard on
That wasn't mine.
I'm holding my phone.
Oh, yours was the only one that kind of fell afterwards, so I assumed it vibrated itself off of kilter.
I think it was Waters.
Fair. Well, so in terms of banging my own mother, let me get this on the record for the universe.
No.
I that's a tough one, because I really don't think $1 million would change my life. So anything else, but I feel like the guy whose dong I have to suck, even though this isn't a real thing, I feel like I would never have to see that guy again. Do you know what I mean? And I think there's a lot to that, to know that I could blow this guy. And then for the rest of his life, I could be the one that got away.
Her eye every time I saw her for $500,000, okay?
What's that, sorry?
I said my mother would have a twinkle in her eye every time I saw her.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Is I don't want my mom to feel like I hit it and quit it. You know what I mean?
When's that happening again? I'm almost done with that money.
Oh, you think like it'd be an ongoing thing? It's just like time for a resupply.
I would hope not.
I just don't think I could look at my mom afterwards, especially like, again, the question too, there's so many other things about it, is like, do I have to come? Do you know what I mean? And does she have to?
God.
Just, Angie, this is a business transaction here. You want to make sure you read over everything first, okay? You can't go signing contracts without knowing the fine print.
Oh my God.
I just think, do I have to come? Do I have to make her come? All right? Because that's another thing too. Yeah. There's a lot to go into it. I think I'd have a very difficult time getting hard. Dare I say borderline impossible.
I'm getting all these backgrounds.
Yeah, water's playing with his fucking filters right now.
I know.
Which doesn't mean what it would normally mean, surprisingly. But the funny thing is, like, overall, I would hate to be like, if the rule is I had to come and I just couldn't, I would hate to be the guy who fucked his mom for free. You know what I mean? Like, that would be the thing, is that like I didn't fulfill my end of the contract, so now I just did it for free, like somebody from the South. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I don't even know what to say. No, I'm not gonna.
Angie, how much what was the number for you to have sex with your mom?
No, I'm not. No. Well, how did
What
you?
about my
Why
dad?
did you come back to me? No.
Well, because you were the first co-host initially. Now we just have a goddamn filter fest going on with these people. Red is a pumpkin. Water has fireworks going off. I feel like that's like a metaphor for the orgasm I was referring to a moment ago. Okay, that was
Oh
horrifying.
Jesus!
It's a
Red just like made a scary face, and then that face morphed into a dragon. If there was a clown one, I would have loved that, because that would have made Angie fucking scream, and that would have been hilarious.
Imagine I was looking down and I would have looked up and saw that. Terrifying.
That's Red just laughing like a maniac right now. I gotta get this podcast back on the rails here, guys. So, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna move. I got a couple of these things here. I'm gonna move to next week's episode. Angie, are you willing to chat with me next week about the box of goodies?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, and by next week I mean probably tomorrow, because I need to record tomorrow's episode. But I'll move those. Okay, so I'm gonna go bloop bloop. And I wonder if anyone on like listening to the podcast is like, wait a second, we didn't hear the end of the mom fucking thing. I can tell you $1 million wouldn't do it. I can tell you that. That's not enough. I could buy a house and a few other things for $1 million, and I would still have to be like, it's like, wow, Josh, you have a really nice house. How did you do it? What's your secret? You just sort of sit, I'm like, let me tell you.
Oh, God.
But all I can say is I'm not so ignorant as to say that number doesn't exist. Do you know what I mean? I think everybody's got a number. I don't think there's a number where I'd murder my mom. You know what I mean?
No.
But some second cousin or something. You know what I mean?
No comment.
No? You don't have any family member that you just
No, I'm good.
I'm good. I'm not wearing a wire.
And she's probably already killed them.
Angie's like, no, I'm not falling for that one again. The check always bounces. Just the more uncomfortable you seem, Angie, the more I'm going to poke at you. But okay, so this is what I want to share with you guys. So I'm already over the time, but I'm doing my DK book. So I got to give DK their segment, but I thought you guys would get a kick out of this because out of all of us, we're the adults in our little PlayStation group, and we have the teenagers as well.
True.
Okay. Yeah. So I thought it was kind of cool that we're the ones that are on. So there's the book that I'm reviewing for DK this week is called What's My Teenager Thinking? Practical Child Psychology for Modern Parents. It's for ages 13 to 18. And I'll hit you with the back real quick. It says, as the teenage brain rewires, hormones surge, and independence beckons, a perfect storm for family conflict emerges. Parenting just got tougher, but help is here. This uniquely practical parenting book for raising teenagers in today's world explores the science at work during this period of development, translates teenage behavior, and shows you how you can best respond as a parent in the moment and in the long term. In more than 100 everyday scenarios, this book tackles real-world situations head-on, from what to do when your teenager slams their bedroom door in your face to how to handle worries about online safety, peer pressure, schoolwork, and sex. Ooh. Discover how to create a supportive environment and communicate with confidence to help your teenager manage whatever life brings. So, Angie and I poked around through this earlier. So I read a bunch of this week because I thought it was kind of funny to actually have the psychology, because we're always talking one of these kids off a ledge, it seems. So I thought I'd pull up a couple little examples. What's great about the book is it basically gives you the scenario and then describes kind of what the kid's going through. So we found 3, but I don't know if I'll have enough time. I'd love to get your guys' ideas. So one of the things I pulled up was he's just a friend is one of the scenarios. He's just a friend. And we have, it's my phone. Okay. It's my phone. And then the other one that I thought is funny is she's a slut. Now there's a ton in here, but just going some like, talking about pornography. That's getting a bookmark. Maybe someone should have used this one on me at some point. Oh, that's so fucking funny. Let's talk about pornography. Could anything
become a child psychologist?
No, I just think it's so funny. Can you imagine how uncomfortable listening to your parents talking about? That's something that I would find fascinating. Listening to my mom talk about porn and then my dad talk to me about porn. Just to hear the two differences. Like mom's like, when two people love each other very much. There was a South Park scene where it was like, when two people love each other very much, they did it. He's like, yeah. And he's like, what about 3 men that love a woman? And then he's like, 4 midgets spanking a man covered in Thousand Island dressing. Is that love? Like, good tight one. All right. So let's hear, just for fun. I want to throw these. They're just one more game. I think we're all guilty of that at times, except Red. Red's got some shit in here. But just one more game. I am studying. You swear, why can't I? Oh, interesting. Can I have next week's allowance? These are so many funny ways. All my friends look amazing. Sexuality and gender. Gender's not a thing, man. Tear this page out. Okay. Let's hit the she's a slut one. That one sounds familiar. Red, you're the expert.
I gotta go though because my phone's gonna die.
Go fuck yourself. You can go when your phone dies.
You can go.
You don't get to jump out of this fucking conversation with the she's a slut part. Red's like, I gotta go. I gotta go here. I've known that asshole a while myself too. I'm just fucking with you. Okay, I'll hit this quick then. She's a slut. A teenage girl's status can rise when she starts to be noticed and have a relationship with boys, but it can also fall. If her peers think if their peers think she's getting too much attention, that girl may be targeted and put down with words such as slut. Scenario: while giving your teen and friend a lift, your daughter calls a classmate a slut. You ask her about this in the car and bring it up again at home. Really? Are any parents that involved? I think if you said it to dad, your dad's like, how old is she? She's a slut. Is she? How old is she? Red shaking her head, as to be expected.
Okay, American Beauty.
What's that? Yeah, American Beauty. Yeah. But see, that's the thing. We all learned he's more interested in young boys. Oh, topical. As teenage becomes sexually aware, competition, who is the most attractive, sharpens. Girls believe that having a boyfriend makes them look more attractive and mature, but it may trigger jealous feelings in peers who also want attention from boys. Jealousy can feel uncomfortable, so teens may justify their complex feelings by latching onto deeply embedded cultural ideas about good versus bad girls. Or mean girls. Younger teens are also impulsive and still learning the impact of name-calling. It's likely that your teen doesn't grasp the word's full implications. She just knows it's a powerful way to bring down the reputation of a girl who's seen, consciously or not, as a rival. What you may be thinking. You may be shocked your daughter is undermining other girls by using sexist language. You may wonder where her strong views on other people's private lives come from. What she may be thinking. Your teen knows this is one of the harshest insults available, but by calling a schoolmate a slut, she defines herself as a good girl by comparison. Yeah, I get it. I'm sure Red's doing stupid shit. I know how it works. I don't give a fuck, man. Plowing through.
I wear pink on Wednesdays, okay?
You wear pink on Wednesdays?
Is it Wednesday?
Yeah, I don't see pink.
Fuck, I have to work tomorrow.
I don't see pink. What's going on? All right. So yeah, she's basically defines herself as good girl by comparison. She's implying that she's a morally superior, more valuable young woman who is saving herself for the right person. Obviously, that makes sense. She may not fully understand the word's meaning, but knows it's strong insult that could destroy another girl's reputation, bringing her down in the social hierarchy. Taking the moral high ground by calling another girl names may make her feel better about the fact that she may not have yet had interest from boys. And although she's calling another girl a slut, she may worry about being called it too. When she gets dressed for a party, she may feel she has to tread a fine line between looking attractive and being seen as trying too hard. Angie, what do you think? When you were dressing for parties, were you trying too hard, or were you a good girl?
I think when I first met my husband, when we were like just talking, I did try to do the whole sexy, like try to be sexy thing.
Yeah.
But I've never been like that. I've always wanted to be like the scary one, the witch, or like
everything is sexy blank for Halloween. It's always I'm going as a sexy this. Or
I don't know, yeah, like it's weird. Like I don't understand why you're gonna be sexy. You've been doing it all. You're trying to do it throughout your time without it being Halloween. Why is Halloween gives you that?
Well, that's the thing is,
be extra slutty. Like,
it's probably like in this, like where it's like it's okay.
Well, because you get to wear a mask, so nobody really knows that it's you that's showing off the titties.
Oh, I think a lot of girls are like they basically put like a barrette in their hair with ears and pin a cat tail to whatever whore dress they wear. They're like, I'm a sexy cat. It's like you're wearing 2 weak props on a whore's outfit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, I'd rather be something where you can't see who I am, and like I'm scary as hell. Like, and I love to scare the kids and stuff like that.
The Dave Chappelle had a great bit about that, how some woman was dressed all skanky and he's like looking at her and she's like, what makes you think that I'm this and that? And he's like, oh, okay. He's like, that's like if I ran up to a cop and it was like, hey, officer, I need your help. He's like, wait, just because I'm dressed like this, what makes you think that I'm actually a cop?
That was one of my favorite bits.
Yeah, and he's like, let me tell you something. You might not be a whore, but you're wearing a whore's uniform. Tough but fair. Chappelle's yeah. But anyway, so this is how you could respond. So this is saying this is what she's thinking. Here's the response according to this book. In the moment, intervene. You may be shocked by her language, but ask her about her choice of words. By saying nothing, you tacitly, I hope that's a word, condone her use of this term. Without criticizing, tell her you'd like to understand why she described a classmate in this way. Discuss gender politics. Oh, I can't wait to read this. Gender politics. I'm running for female president. Joking. Talk about how competition for male attention can damage friendships. Ask why she thinks there's no equivalent word for boys. Of course there is.
Brad, you look as confused as me, and I know you don't smoke weed. It's hilarious.
Let's say she's asking why there's no equivalent word for boys and why girls are shamed by boys.
I'm just glad I have a boy.
Praised for sexual activity. Yeah. Talk about how boys may be brought down in different ways, for example, with insults such as weak and sissy, but the sexual insults are more commonly directed at women. Playa. He's a playa. That's been around forever. It's not as negative because guys, yeah. Don't hate the playa, hate the game. Don't blame men just because we found a way to twist it into something cute. You know what I'm saying? We got that ability. We're very charming. We can make lemonade. You know what I mean? Let's see. There's only a couple more here. Talk about its effects. Once you've listened, explain your adult perspective. Say how slurs such as slut dehumanize. Like kids give a fuck about that. Dehumanize and imply someone is worthless. Slut may also be used in sexual bullying by boys against girls who may feel unable to escape the label. Discuss gossip. Gossip girl. We all exchange information about others, but it crosses a line if it's unproven or deliberately hurts. If the girl enters into a sexual relationship and now feels used, how would she feel about being called a slut? If your daughter heard negative gossip, how does she know it's not true? Would she say this to the girl's face? Ask her to think about pressures on her. Keep talking. Keep talking. Why is that every woman's fucking solution? You know what? Just keep talking. Talk until she's exhausted and then she can't call someone else a slut. Okay, we got...
I'm so tired. I'm going to bed.
Yeah, all right.
I know how you feel.
I got 2 more. Yeah, I got 2 more. Red, you're going to pick the next one. We're going to go with it's either he's just a friend.
I'm going to bed, you jerk.
You can go to bed when I say so. You slut.
I'm kidding.
I called you a slut first.
I
hit you first. I'm editing you out of this. No, okay. So are we going with he's just a friend, or are we talking about pornography?
He's just a friend.
Wow. And, you don't want to talk about porn?
Well,
Angie, what's your favorite kind of pornography?
No.
It's funny. You don't have to elaborate.
Hold
We
on.
just need a name.
Welcome, Angie. You've been initiated to the club.
Yeah, this is how it works in the podcast. We all get a little real here in the trust tree of the eating issues. Hello, teach me about these. What was 15-year-old Josh? Why was Josh eating? I'm going anyway. Is that an eating issue? I don't have time. There's a basket of laundry here. Okay, we're gonna
I'm
go.
sad because I eat, and I eat because I'm sad. It's a vicious
It's a
circle.
vicious cycle. I gotta get a hold of someone and forgive myself. Can I have next week's allowance? Oh fuck, my Mac is low battery. Why the hell is that happening?
Oh,
That can't be possible.
what is
The
mine?
Revenge of Red.
Yeah. Well, my screen thingy was up too much. There, my brightness is down. I can plug you in, Mac. You know how the boss of me. Okay, let's do it. He's Just a Friend by Angie's request. We'll do that one. That won't catch. All right. Well, we're gonna see what happens. I wonder if it tells me. Does it tell me how much time I have? Okay. Using significant energy, Google Chrome. Right, because we're doing the fucking live thing here. Doobity beep squip. Okay. He's just a friend. You say he's just a friend. Until now,
Oh, I
your
like
daughter.
that.
Why is it always daughter? I feel bad for. Well, I guess he's just a friend. No, it should have been a boy
cute.
because then it allows it's inclusive. That's what it should have been. Okay, so I'm going to do that. He's just a friend. Until now, your daughter/son probably socialized mainly with other girls/boys. As girls/boys and boys/girls start to relax around what. I just keep adding more. Oh, Red's gone. R.I.P. Oh no, she's there. She plugged it in. What the fuck is going on? Red's wearing a Mad Hatter style hat. Are you on LSD? What is going on with you?
You're boring.
Everybody.
I'm not boring. This is a very important book by my sponsors, DK, that needs its proper plug, Red. You will show it respect.
I can be Davy Crockett.
Yes, you can. As girls and boys start to relax around one another and are less closely supervised, they're ready to break off into pairs to form more intimate relationships, the old P and the V, but this can still feel like a big step. Scenario: you notice your teen is spending lots of time messaging a boy. When you ask about him, she says he's just a friend. By this age, your teen may want to feel desired by a special person and also rising levels of sex
Quick
hormones.
question.
Yes.
Does our teen have a mental disability?
Not yet. She might though. She could get hit by a car, develop ABI, acquired brain injury.
Well, I've got like a little, I don't know. My brother, he had a sister, not my sister, his sister. She just got Downs, and she like text messages people all the time, but it's completely irrelevant.
You never know. Maybe
Like,
we'll find the answer in here.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
So by this time, your teammates are a special person. Also, rising levels of sex hormones may be creating feelings of sexual desire. Adolescents are also better now at reading each other and communicating mutual attraction, so dating feels easier. Even so, her first step towards a relationship are likely to be tentative. As boys this age can vary in how seriously they take relationships, she may want to keep any false starts private. If she does say she's considering starting a relationship, help her think about what she wants from it. Anal? Question mark. What you might be thinking. You may notice that if you blah, blah, blah. She's vague about where she goes. If you suspect she has a boyfriend, you may feel sad she doesn't trust you enough to tell you. What she might be thinking. She may feel ready for a different type of love to
This
the one
person's
she
had some bad
from you.
experiences.
Right? Well, it's all kids. I could see this. This is more, so basically, it looks like every scenario is like, here's the scenario and here's some shit they're going through. What you might be thinking, what they might be thinking, and then how you could respond, and it gives you different sort of paths to that.
Yeah.
Right? So what she might be thinking is she's ready for a different type of love to the one she has had from you. She may idealize ideas about relationships from films. That's fair. We all kind of, mimic what we see. But then it's a few more, and then it's some of the, like, example for in the moment, welcome male friends. Girls can find boys confusing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the only side. Women are very, very easy to understand, not confusing in the slightest.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you guys are very clear and transparent.
That's true. The human Rubik's Cube is not a woman for sure. Girls can find boys confusing. If she and the boy are just friends, welcome the fact that she's learning more about how boys think. And this is what you got to do. You got to make sure he's got a good job. If he says this, then you say the opposite. And this is where the manipulation begins. This right here.
You have to look into his wallet and see how many credit cards he has.
Exactly.
'Cause 3 is the right number. 5 is too many, and one is not enough. He has to have
Welcome the
three.
fact that she's learning how boys think. And this is how you're passive aggressive. No matter what happens, you do not say yes, you do not say no. Every answer is vague. You can't twist a mold of clay if it's hard. But friendships with boys can also provide relief from some of the politics and rivalry in female friendships. Be inclusive. Don't assume her first relationship is heterosexual.
What the fuck are
Well,
you
you don't
reading?
have to assume anything.
This
Don't
is a book
Yeah.
from your plug.
Yeah, it's still a great book, and it's fair. It's just funny because
Everybody
it's
should
like,
get it, for
be
sure.
inclusive. Don't assume her first relationship is heterosexual. In a neutral, but you've already set the scenario that she's chatting with a boy. Are we to assume that the boy is undecided in what he is so far? Don't assume her first relationship is heterosexual. In a neutral, friendly way, try questions such as, are you interested in someone? That's if this scenario hasn't happened already. If you're just trying to guess in general, I would say that that's kind of a side note thing. Explore your own feelings. Am I a boy? Am I heterosexual? Is your
Right.
boyfriend open to threesomes? You may also need time to adjust to the next stage of her life. Are you bringing...
That depends on how old the boyfriend is, Josh. Come on now.
That's true. What state are we in?
Yeah. Oh, right? Because if you're in America, you can just go up to like North Dakota where it's 13 years of age.
North
Whatever
Dakota, and
fucking
that gets you
senators
south of the
still-
border legally.
Dude, who the fuck is defending those laws?
I have no idea. But I'm going to throw it back to my partners at DK, DK.com in the US, DK.com/CA for my Canadian listeners, or just Google DK books. You guys can find all sorts of cool shit. Like I said, last year they put out What's My Child Thinking? And those scenarios were really cool because it gave you insight into, like, you know, if your kid's like asking for your attention all the time, if they want to do something themselves, like all the psychology behind it. Super cool book. A friend of mine, Alex, she's got it, and she tells me that she refers to it all the time with her little kids. And this is the teenage version, which is much more complicated. I'm definitely going to use this book on Chad, Rich, and Chance. I'm so hairy.
We can
That's
definitely use
hilarious.
it on them for sure.
I'm so hairy is one of the things in this book.
Oh wow!
Teenagers have
I was
always...
about to say, this is stuff for like when your child is indoors.
Yeah, I'm
Take
taking
your child
a year off.
outside, teach them how to do things. Well,
Holy
maybe they
shit.
won't ask you these stupid fucking questions.
This is a very
I
current
never
book.
asked my fucking parents stupid fucking questions.
Well, check this out. One of them is, can I get my lips done? A lot of that's like social media shit. I thought it was a free period. What? A free period. You don't know my friends like I do. Why do you have to speak to my teacher? That's the 17 to 18 year olds. I'm gay. Whoa! Let's do it. I'm gay. This is one that is...
This sounds really important, actually. Let's hear.
Well,
let's hear the fucking
super.
insight.
Yeah, it's super important. I was just gonna say, depending on where you are, you know. Well, this is the parent. It's like step one: put down the pitchfork or baseball bat. Do not call the preacher to pray the gay away. Because there's so many, like,
for
man,
sure.
I on like this one actually makes me feel bad because there's so many fucking people who just know their folks, and it's like, I could never possibly tell them that I'm gay.
Yeah.
That just makes me sad. Do you guys want to
I
hear
like
it?
gay people.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gay. For teens, discovering and sometimes declaring their sexual identity is an important part of becoming an adult. But for young people who aren't straight, there can be added challenges if they feel they're not conforming to a more traditional heterosexual role. Preacher said it's bad to be gay. Can't be gay. Your teenager comes out to you. Your teen may, and it's funny because in the picture it shows the kid coming out to his mom, and I'm like, that's the safe.
Aw.
That's the safer of the two, I would think, unless you
Yeah.
have like one of those Carrie mothers who will beat you with the Bible or whatever. Your teen may have had an idea about his sexuality for several years, but now that he's more secure in his identity and he feels ready to tell you, less stigma and more openness around
Your kids
LGBTQ
crush you
plus.
now.
Yeah.
Let's ruin that.
Yeah, seriously. Issues today mean that young people are coming out earlier than ever. In the last 2 decades, the average age has fallen from 20 years old to around 16. My dick always stands up after phys ed. The showers. Angie throws her head back and rolls her eyes. This can be socially vulnerable time for your teen, so it's important to keep an eye out on his mental health. Supporting your
I
teens...
thought that was just me.
Yeah. getting a boner in PE.
Oh,
So
I try to get erect whenever it was inappropriate.
I was just trying not to be like the small kid. It's like, hey guys, look, I'm big. Supporting your teen's feelings will help make his adolescent. Yeah, I'm just kidding. I skip PE. Supporting your teens. I would be more
short shorts, and I wore a super long jacket, and I would open it up like a creep.
Yeah.
Like, why would you give us such short shorts?
Supporting your teen's feelings will help make his adolescent years as secure as possible. So what you might be thinking, Jesus, when he needs Jesus, you may it's not in the book, DK. You may wonder if your son is going through a phase of experimentation or whether he's certain about his choice. Yeah, your first, like being honest, like my fucking knee-jerk reaction would be like, are you sure? And not because like I don't want him to be gay. It's like the whole like long, hard road for you if you are. Less so than it used to be, but still like the world's just not a good enough place yet. So I'd be like, fuck, I love you, and that's gonna be hard on you. So I gotta say my knee jerk would be like, dude, are you sure?
Yeah.
Have you tried pussy? No, can you imagine?
Oh, God.
I'm kidding, of course. You may worry he might be affected by discrimination or homophobia. It's exactly what my concern is. Or worry how other family members might react. Not so much. My family's pretty open-minded. If you didn't suspect he wasn't straight, you may wonder how you missed the signs. Why were you always having sleepovers with those 3 friends of yours? Guys always said we only need 1 sleeping bag. Your teen. Oh, for fuck's sakes. Your teen might be worried about how you'll react, especially if you've ever said anything that made him think you disapprove of same-sex couples. If he's been trying to hide his sexuality, telling you will feel like a relief. If he hasn't told others yet, he may see coming out to you as a decisive first step in being able to declare his sexuality openly to the world. Even if he believes you'll be supportive, he may worry about how older, more conservative members of the family, such as grandparents, might act. Yeah, conservatives are very open-minded. Almost all male gay students say they have heard the word gay used as a put-down, sometimes as a way for other boys to assert heterosexual masculinity. For this reason, he may be more nervous about coming out to his peers than you. And then finally, how you could respond. So in the moment, be accepting. Thank him for telling you. He'll remember this moment for the rest of his life. That is true. So be clear you're supportive and that you love him. Don't talk too much. That's his job now that he's a lady.
Oh my God.
Joking. Okay. Facts, Dylan says. Yeah, don't talk too much. Listen and remember that he's still the same person. If you think he'd like it, offer him one of your dresses. Just joking. If you think he'd like it, offer a sign of physical affection. Why would he not want the physical affection anymore? Like your mom goes to hug you afterwards.
Do not touch me.
Yeah, but it's just like if you think he'd like it, offer a sign of physical affection. He's like, mom goes to hug you. I told you, Mom, I'm not into chicks. How much? $1 million? Okay. Make this
right,
see,
for sure.
That's a callback. Anyways, also in the moment, make this moment his, even if you feel surprised. God, me bringing my stupid comedy into it. Again, I always trust my onesies when they listen, but there might always be that person out there who goes, fucking asshole, what a piece of shit. I'm joking. I can't imagine how uncomfortable this would be for them. It'd be uncomfortable for me, but only because I'd want to be supportive in the moment, and I'd be terrified that I'd say or do the wrong thing and make them scared to ever tell anybody else or whatever. Even if you feel surprised at his news and need some time to adjust your thoughts about his future, make sure that he doesn't sense this. Mom, why won't you make eye contact? Like, why are you? Ensure that this
That's
remains...
a fucking mean one.
You think so? It's just like, well, it's like, don't let him sense your fear. It's like, so I immediately thought of animals where you're like, you don't stare them in the eyes or whatever. Like, Mom, why won't you look at me? Ensure that this remains your teen's moment. This is your moment. Go get it. And make it clear from the outset that you support him unconditionally, of course. So in the long term, keep talking about healthy sex. All right. Don't get that AIDS now. No, it says keep talking about healthy sex. If you're heterosexual, you may feel unqualified to talk about gay sex. Why? Like you don't know where to put it? I could tell you. But the principles of safe sex, consent, and good relationships still. So this is just me like feeling unequipped. So obviously I break everything with humor. So again, if anyone like I prefer gay people to straight people. That's right. I'm sexist against or genderist or hetero, whatever, against straight people. I prefer gay people. Anyways, but the principles of safe sex, consent, and good relationships apply. Stress the importance of wearing condoms to prevent STIs. Talk to your family members. Once you think your teen is ready, ask him when he wants to tell others in the family. You want to tell your father? Wait till he's under the car fixing the brakes. If he gets mad, drop the jack on him. Drop the car on him. We'll say it was an accident. Sorry. How he would like to handle sharing his news with siblings and other family members. Support him during this process and help answer any of the questions that he may have. Create a safe haven. Homophobic bullying is the most common kind in schools, according to research, with name calling such as queer, faggot, or gay common. Acknowledge that bullying, both verbal and sometimes physical, is a concern for your teen. Make sure that he has a consistently supported environment at home and feels like he has a safe place to be and bring his friends. I would say even get better at roasting them back too. Like someone calls you a faggot, be like, I don't know. Yeah, maybe I should tread lightly on that one. But never hurts to roast them back worse. It's like you call me a fag and be like, what's that? Oh, you talking to Pat?
Yeah, she asked me to shoot her with this gun, and I told her, no, it is not fun.
No, it's not. So be positive about LGBTQ plus issues. He'll be assessing how you really feel about him being gay and try to cancel you. No, I'm just kidding. He'll be a supportive feel about him being gay. Talk positively at LGBTQ plus role models. Name the first one that comes to mind. Who's your favorite LGBTQ plus model? Don't say Ellen. That's a chick. It's a cop out.
I don't know.
Okay. So we're not. So maybe this book would have helped to have listed a couple because I can't think of one.
I can't think of one.
It's like so. Yeah. So talk positively LGBTQ plus role models. Does RuPaul count? Drag isn't exactly. Well, no, but drag isn't exactly LGBTQ, is it?
I don't know.
Well, if you're gay, yes, it does. It does help the community. That's why I thought of it, but I'm not sure. Like, if you're gay, then that's definitely cool. So RuPaul is gay, yes?
Yeah, I would assume RuPaul's gay.
Okay.
But I don't know. See, it's a very touchy subject on that because he dresses like a girl, but I know he's a guy. He
dresses like a woman, Angie. He's a strong black woman.
He's a strong black
and, I mean, I'm assuming, but you never know. He could just be like taking this dress off, pounding your ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's true. Ask him what he'd like you to understand about his sexuality. If there are any films or books you got to watch this video that I identify with. Oh, okay. I assume it's positive films
video.
Or books he identifies with that would help you get his feelings. And finally, respect his relationships. Don't try to fuck his boyfriends. You may have had to adjust your, just funny. Whenever I get the heading, I'm like, what could that mean in a completely ridiculous way? You may have had to adjust your mindset about your teen, but understand that love is love, of course, and look forward to your teen enjoying a fulfilling and loving relationship. Accept any future partner he may have and be excited that your child is introducing you to someone is so important in his life. I remember like anytime that's really coming through on the mic, brother. Sorry.
Oops.
No worries. Just thought I'd let you know. Yeah, I remember like these Mormons knocked on my door one time. They knock on my door several times, but this time in particular, I was like, yeah, you guys one of those religions that doesn't like gay people? And they're like, yeah, unfortunately it's not. I'm like, yeah, sorry, I'm out. You'll never get me on your side with that one. I'm like, I can't get behind any religion where someone is punished and their biggest crime is just loving another person of the same gender. I'm like, really? You go to hell for just that? Yeah. It's like, it's not my fault you installed the wrong software on this hard drive. You know what I mean? And that's not, before someone jumps on me, it's not wrong. I'm just saying, effectively, if it was that way, it's not their choice. Like, no, I can't imagine anyone who's like, yeah, you know what I want? I want to have the shit beat out of me and be teased and shit all the time. It's like, why? Well, just because. You know? Yeah. I don't know. Anyways, whatever. That's the one, guys. What's my teenager thinking? Practical Child Psychology for Modern Parents. DK.com in the States, DK.com/CA in Canada, or just Google DK Books for any of my international listeners. They have great stuff. Or if you got a youngin', What's My Child Thinking is the one from last year, and it's just as good with all sorts of cool stuff. I think that's it for the week, guys. That's the podcast. Are we hanging out to play some video games afterwards?
Sure.
I'm about some Don't Starve.
Dope. I got to do a couple things on Diablo to test, but then I'll jump on with you guys afterwards.
Okay, sounds good.
Awesome. So I'm glad we got everybody on. Angie next week. Actually, Angie, tomorrow night, are you free to do the next one?
Yeah.
Groovy.
Okay.
I love how I'm doing like the post show notes. I can figure all that shit out afterwards. D, thank you for jumping on. This was fun. I'm glad that we got to have you guys in. I'll have to do one with like each of you individually so I can share it with the audience a little more of like who you guys are.
That would be really, really cool.
Yeah, that's cool. So Angie, you can share this one with your family too, because now they get to hear Red and myself and Dylan and everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
I can call him by Dylan.
He's the only one in the group who's actually Red's Vanessa, so she still gets her nickname.
Red, yeah, I still say Red. I still call Dylan Water, but I can't even say his name because I see water like that. I've known him forever, so he's been water to me.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, listen, I just lost everybody, so I'm going to, my laptop just died. The perfect time for me to throw it to the end of the podcast. Guys, thanks for listening. I'm going to thank Angie and Dylan for being on the podcast. It just died at the perfect time. Yeah, I'm looking forward to sharing more of the cool stuff with them. I love having people on. Definitely the conversation flows a lot nicer that way. I look forward to any recommendations for some scary movies throughout this. Hey, and how about that? The laptop was powering the recorder, so it too died. I am quite some time later getting everything back. Thank God it was salvaged. I actually have to salvage the recording. All those wonderful things that I said with my friends may never have heard the light of day, so I was lucky that the recorder has a built-in backup. So, having said that, I look forward to all of your recommendations for some scary movies over this holiday Halloween month. I look forward to anything that you guys want to send me. Of course, the email address as always is contact@onemanpodcast.com. A big thank you to Angie, Dylan, and Red for popping into the episode. Always fun. I will be back next week, aka tomorrow, for with Angie. We're going to talk about some of those goodies that she got. And she's actually sent a box back my way too. So maybe she'll tell us a little bit about that, or maybe we'll save that until the box arrives and I can, go through some of it on the podcast with you guys and talk about all that fun stuff. But I appreciate you guys listening and I look forward to talking with you again soon.